Dylan and Andrew are doing a podcast? Unbelievable. What will happen next? Find out when today's Wad Fam Chalk Pod begins, right now.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Sabo, and this time I've got a deeper voice.
Oh, okay. So we're here talking about A Rathbone of Contention.
Yes.
It's episode 160 of the series we love so much, Adventures in Odyssey.
Yes, sir. This is a special episode.
Is it?
No.
It's a special in that it's
This is like the frozen pizza equivalent of Adventures in Odyssey.
Ooh.
Like if we're talking like Blackgaard and Novacom as like some like, you know, you're paying $20 a pie for a good pizza there. This is like frozen pizza. Like it'll do, but it is a far cry from.
Well, especially after covering the Homecoming last week.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Which, that was special.
And
Good
this
one. Go listen to that one again.
Yeah.
You've already listened to this one. We got your play. Thank you. Love you. Go listen to that one again.
Yeah. I like that plan a lot. This is this aired a week after the previous one as well. In reality, so this was July 27th of 1991.
Okay.
And it is written and directed by Phil Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's off album 11. It's Another Fine Day, and this is track 10 on that album.
And is there any like new cast members of note?
Walker Edmonston is Bart.
Yeah.
Steve Burns is Rodney. We know those ones.
We've already covered
Will
that.
Ryan's here as Patrick O'Ryan again.
Yeah. Yep.
Back-to-back episodes.
Betcha Shamrock.
And then Dave Arnold voices the building inspector, Courtney McNeil.
Okay.
And Phil Lawler voices Joe and Charlie, but I don't remember who those people are.
I think those are like construction workers. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think those are construction workers. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Do we have a promo for this episode?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. Let me play it now that the website works again.
Woohoo! Thanks, Lee.
Coming up on Adventures in Odyssey.
We are an aggressive company.
Problems are in the making.
I am not a certified electrician. I'm sure you will find everything to be A-okay.
And the Rathbones seem to be in the middle of it.
I'm now throwing the switch.
Find out what happens on Adventures in Odyssey.
What was the music?
I really, really want Adventures in Odyssey. Release all of your promo music.
Yeah.
You cowards.
Yeah.
Put it up on the AIO Club for an additional amount of money. Make me spend $50 on it. I will.
I won't, but he will.
Right, and then I will definitely not share them with Andrew.
Yeah.
But I would gladly buy all of the promo music for this show because it is insanity.
Yeah, what even? That was like going back and forth between like kind of like a film noir, like rainy days, like stalking thing, like with like the bass and stuff. Like it kind of felt like a cheesy like 70s cop show car chase situation, and then it was just like saxophones game show time.
Right. Well, I was gonna say the beginning. It sounded like a Wii Sports.
Yeah, or like what is it? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. What is that? That's is that that's not Wheel of Fortune? Is that The Price is Right? Maybe.
Oh, I don't.
Or like
I don't
Let's
know.
Make a Deal. It's something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I believe you.
Tweet at us if you know what game show I'm referencing, but don't actually know.
Use at Andrew Sabo, not at WadFam Chalkpod for that one, please.
Are you gonna turn down audience interaction?
I'm going to direct it towards you rather than the podcast.
That's fair. Okay.
Also, I don't think your handle is at Andrew Sabo. I think it's a Sabo Andrew on Twitter.
It is. I can't actually check right now because I don't have Twitter on my phone. So Oh yeah, I think it's a Sabo, Andrew.
Yeah.
No. No, it's Andrew Sabo.
Is it Andrew _ Sabo? Dude, we don't have time for this.
Yeah, we don't.
Just find him.
Yep.
I don't know.
We've mentioned it before. Instagram DM. That's definitely at Andrew Sabo.
And is it?
Yes, it definitely is. I promise.
I'll put links in the description. I don't think either of Andrew's handles are at Andrew Sabo.
Yes, they are.
I think one has an underscore and one is backwards.
My Snapchat is a Sabo Andrew 10.
Well, if you want to snap Andrew,
I will definitely respond if somebody from the pod Snapchats me.
You have to first friend you?
Yeah.
Weird. All right. I will not snap anyone from the pod.
No.
So I don't know what else. This is the 5th episode with Bart Rathbone.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
The first episode with the Electric Palace. The first episode with Don't Call Me Pop.
Yep. Which is used quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we even talked about it on frickin' The Popsicle Kid.
Yeah.
And that comes out like 10 years from this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that bit is beaten.
Because Rodney, like Connie, doesn't really get to age.
Nope. Never.
Well, I mean, until they eventually just write him off.
Yeah. Well, how do they write him off?
I don't know. I just think he stops showing up in episodes because Walker Edmonston dies. So if Bart's not going to be in episodes, then we're not going to have...
Yeah.
We're not going to have Rodney in them either.
Was that... That's how he got wrote off was... When did Tom... Tom died pretty recently.
Right around album 50, I think.
Didn't they, like, address it in the show?
Very recently they addressed it, but I think he was just not around for a while.
Oh, okay.
If I'm remembering what people have tweeted at me in the past.
Yeah. So the episode begins with them watching, like, them being... Who is it? It's Whit, Lucy, and Tom watching the destruction of Blackgaard's castle. Like, the wrecking ball is going down. And they're praying, I guess, which makes sense, like kind of getting closure from all the hurt and scarring, and it's actually kind of a tender moment, because isn't it Lucy who asked to pray?
Well, yeah, I mean, they all took papers there.
Yeah.
And wrote down all of their bad feelings towards Blackgaard and Maxwell, and nailed them to the final wall that was going to be knocked down on the construction site.
Yeah.
So...
That's pretty poetic.
And then, yeah.
Also,
and then
kind of strange. Like, why would you do it on papers? Because, I don't know. I feel like those sorts of things, when you write it on paper, like, you should burn it. That way, like, there's no more paper. You know what I mean? Or, like, if you write it on a balloon and then you just let go of the balloon, like, and there's no more balloon. Whereas this is just like, well, we got our bad feelings and they got the crap beaten out of them by a wrecking ball, and now they're just in smaller pieces. So, but you know what? I'm not going to judge their self-care.
The same thing, but
and then
what do I know? I'm not a counseling major.
Well, I barely count currently. And then Bart Rathbone shows up, right?
Bart Rathbone? No, it's
Rathbone.
Rodney.
Oh yeah, it's Rodney shows up.
Oh, I do have a note here, which is that which says amen, not amen. In case you wondered
what God wants. Amen.
Amen. But yeah, Whit and Tom both leave, but Lucy sticks around to write an article.
Yeah.
For the
Odyssey Owl?
No. She specifically says the Odyssey Times, which is the real person newspaper.
Yeah.
As opposed to Owl, which is
that's what her dad works for.
No. Lucy's dad does not work for it. Robin's dad.
Robin's dad. Okay.
Dale Jacobs. I don't think we ever really meet Lucy's dad.
But yeah, so what? Rodney then shows up, and that's when we kind of get introduced to the idea that the Electric Palace is coming in place of Blackgaard's castle, and like, what is the Electric Palace? Like, Rodney's, like, obviously a bad guy, but, like, you know, the Electric Palace seems to be a pretty honest business.
Yeah. Wit seems pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
So Rodney kind of fills Lucy in on this whole thing, and then Lucy, Eugene, and Wit are talking about it at Wit's End.
Yeah.
When Rodney and Bart both walk in and reveal that they're calling it the Electric Palace. It's replacing Blackgaard's Castle. It's owned by the Webster Development Company.
Based out of Chicago.
As all good things are.
Yeah. I don't know if that was an intentional detail, because I don't remember how this plays into the greater Blackgaard stuff, but I'm presuming it is intentionally that it's from Chicago.
I don't know. We'll leave that up to the future of the show.
That's fair. Is this a tool that will help us later?
And yeah, Bart says that they're selling every conceivable electronic device for every conceivable need.
Yeah. He's definitely like working like the smooth businessman angle here.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of Bart's shtick.
Yeah,
and he is very
greasy.
Yeah. And Wit's like, oh, if you're gonna have electronic devices, then like I can throw you some business. And Bart's like, oh, who? And Wit's like, me, you dummy.
Yeah, me. I need transformers for my trains. And he's like, oh, well, we're gonna get these trains, or we're gonna get transformers in like a week, or a week from Friday. And he's like, wow, it's Monday. And he's like, yeah. And the walls will be up by next Wednesday.
Yep.
And so basically, there's this insane schedule to have the store literally up and open in 3 weeks, and the old building is just now getting demolished.
Yeah.
So Bart ropes Eugene into helping with the computer stuff, and Wit is buying Transformers from him, and Rodney ropes Lucy into writing up promotional flyers for it.
Yeah. The weird thing with the Eugene thing is Bart asks Wit if he would be willing to loan out Eugene.
Yeah.
And Wit's kind of like, yeah, I guess, as long as you don't keep him.
Yeah.
And in the background, Eugene's like reacting to that, but then like Eugene doesn't get a say in it.
No, and like he's not getting paid.
I presume Wit's still paying him.
Yeah.
He's just working for Bart.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's weird.
I wasn't sure what he was talking about in the loan situation, whether he's like, I'm loaning his time, or I'm loaning, like, he's on loan for money, or something like that. I don't know exactly. Yeah. Because I don't think that Eugene gets paid.
At Wit's End?
No, he does get paid at Wit's End.
Oh, right.
But
the way it's set up, I think Wit's still paying him, but
yeah.
Tom is using him.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. And Rodney offers to pay Lucy $25 for writing some flyers because she's a writer.
Yeah. Come up with designs. If I like them, I'll pay you.
Yeah. And then Eugene says that I appear to have misjudged him, and Wit responds, I think we all have, Eugene. At least, I hope so.
Yeah. Skeptical Wit is skeptical because skeptical Wit is always right.
But, like, honestly, Bart doesn't come off looking particularly good in this interaction.
No.
Like, it's funny that Eugene's like, yeah, I think we might have misjudged him. It's like, no, he seems just like Bart always does. But also, I think a lot of that is stuff that comes down the road, whereas
this fits in with Bart's character, but what they know of Bart's character, I don't know.
Right, exactly. I don't know what everyone expects Bart to be.
Yeah, at this point in time, I don't know what episodes he's been in.
Yeah.
Prior to this, I had a difficult thing because Wit was definitely skeptical of him. Like, Wit was very much.
I don't know.
He was optimistic.
Yeah. Wit's consistently, especially in like a later scene with Lucy, he's really. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really. But the whole vibe we're getting is that this whole thing is being very rushed.
Bart's first episode is in An Act of Mercy, which is in 115, and this is episode 160.
Right.
So he's only appeared in 4 episodes before this.
Yeah, I said that.
Did you?
Literally, yeah.
You said that earlier?
Off the top of the show, I said this is Bart's 5th appearance in an episode.
Okay. Well, I was trying to look at the names of the episodes to see like what major plot points have happened.
Right, well, because it
for
is
his
weird,
character.
because it's like I don't ever think about Bart outside of the Electric Palace.
Yeah.
So it's funny that there was time before that. So we jump then to the Electric Palace. Eugene comes to tell Bart that he's like kind of done setting up the computer area. It still sounds like a complete construction zone, but whatever. All the computers are nearly done being set up, and Bart's like, great, because I've got another project for you. I need you to wire the building.
Yeah.
All the cable's been run, but this big transformer box, that's on you, buddy.
Yeah, so he starts this by saying, like, are you good with electrical? And he's like, well, like, as somebody that works with computers, I have a rudimentary knowledge. And then Bart's like, well, so you're just going to be my electrician. And Eugene's like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. And he's like, no, I'll have the electrician check everything you're going to do before the inspector comes. It'll be fine. And Eugene's like, well, I get it. Okay, fine. And then he goes and does it. And then this is with Rodney and Lucy, right? Where Lucy is showing him these posters and...
Yeah. You want to hear one of the posters?
Yeah, go for
that
it.
She's written. Come on, come all to the grand opening of the Electric Palace. You'll find high voltage savings on current models. Prices so low they're shocking. Bolt on over to the Electric Palace and see what's happening. Just say, charge it. I'm in until that last line.
Yeah, no, I like it, except for the charge it bit.
Just say, charge it?
Charge it to, like, put it on the card? Like, that's presuming what I'm...
Yeah, it's not good.
It's a stretch.
But
a stretch.
But she is a child.
But she is a child. And Lucy, you know what? Like, I respect the effort, and I would give you $25 for that if that's what my business were going to do, unlike Rodney Rathbone, who just steals it and then distributes them anyway. And he's like, nah, I don't actually like it, but I want to sit on this one.
Yeah.
And this is like, this is like the 5th poster or something like that
Yes.
that they've made. Like, she's made a bunch of posters, and he's like, well, I don't actually like it. And he's like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know how you can get more grabbing than this. Like, this is very, this is about as good as it's gonna get. And Rodney's like, nah, just keep trying, and I'll just sit on this one. And then he basically goes back to his dad and kind of explains that he's going to take all those posters to the copier and just copy them and use the posters without paying Lucy because he doesn't like them, but he's still going to use them.
Right. The contract that they had set up was that, if I like them, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, I didn't like them.
I'm just going to be a
I'm not
bad
gonna pay 'em.
person.
Right. And Bart's like, sounds like he's about to reprimand him, and then he's like, slaps him on the back. He's like, good work, kid. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and then he's like, that's my boy. And he's like, oh, thanks, Pop. And he's like, don't call me Pop. Don't call me that. And he's like, okay, Pop. And then he just leaves. And this, I think, does Bart talk about any of the kind of underhanded stuff he's done at this point yet? Like during that interaction?
Yeah, he brings up the fact that he is not paying Eugene at all. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, he's roped Eugene into doing more work and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, there's just kind of this idea that, like, this is super rushed and, like, there's all kinds of stuff going down that they're just trying to get past this building inspector that's going to come by to make sure it's okay. And, like, all the construction noises and everything like that. And then Whit, this is when Whit realizes that his Transformers are bad, right?
Yeah, well, no. So we jump to Whit's end, and Whit's working on the train, but he and Lucy are talking, and Lucy's talking about the fact that there are flyers all over the place, and she hasn't gotten paid.
Yeah.
And Whit's like, look, Lucy, like, don't jump to conclusions. They might have just forgotten. She's like, no, it's Rodney.
Well, he's got his Transformers.
Yeah, but he hasn't done that yet. I'm getting there, Andrew.
No, I know, but, like, the reason that he's saying trust them is because he's gotten his stuff.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Because, I guess we didn't... Did we talk about the whole Transformers things? Bart says he's going to give them to him for free.
Yeah.
But anyways, and so, he's just kind of like...
Wait, was it for free?
Yeah.
I missed that part. I thought that it was just like, I'll give you some business, and Bart's like, okay, well, when I get him, I'll hold him for you.
Right, and then he backtracks and says, actually, I'll give him to you for free.
Oh, I missed that part. That's
So
worthy.
So yeah, and so then it's like, there's no sense in jumping to conclusions. They probably just forgot. We'll go over there and talk to them. Then he asks Lucy to, run the trains after installing these transformers, and they blow up because these transformers were not Autobots, but Decepticons.
Did you write that ahead of time?
Yes.
Okay. I do like that. A good bit. Tweet at us if you approve of Dylan's joke.
And so the Transformers blow, and then we cut back over to Bart's, to the Electric Palace. Bart's talking to Eugene and is like, hey, go disconnect the generator. We'll run all off your box now that you're done with that. And Eugene's like, look, I don't
know what I'm
trust
doing.
it. I have no idea what I'm doing. It looks good, but that's it. And he's like, okay, well, Bart's like, okay, well, the inspector's arriving, so just go do it.
Yeah.
And so the inspector arrives and he and Bart are talking, and Bart's being all, I don't know, kind of sidling up to him and being like, hey, so you gonna pass me?
Yeah.
We cool here?
Yeah.
And then while that's happening, Eugene goes outside to the generator, and Whit's like, hey, don't do that until I tell you to.
Yeah. This is a bad Wit episode.
It is a bad Wit episode.
Which is so disappointing.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Wit goes in and kind of yells at Bart about the flyers and about what Eugene's doing with the wiring, leaving out the whole Transformers thing.
Yeah. Because he's a terrible person right now.
Right, and Bart's like, hey, quiet down, the inspector's here. And Wit's like, what? I can't do that.
Yeah.
What are you so worried about, Bart?
Yeah.
And then Bart's gonna go over and flip the switch, and Wit's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. He knows from Eugene that the Transformers that blew up in his thing are in this thing here, and so that's gonna do it. But rather than saying hey Bart, don't do that, it's gonna blow up, he's just smugly, well, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah.
So Bart does it, he flips on the switch, and there's this electrical noise, and then we hear we hear Bart on the phone with the fire department. We hear someone on the phone with the fire department. Yeah. So things didn't go well, and Wit's kind of mocking him.
Yeah, I know. And then basically everything goes up in flames for Bart. All the electrical shot. He has to pay for a lot of repairs and stuff like that.
Right.
And then Rodney gets dragged in because he was putting out flyers without a warrant from City Hall, and that's littering, and that's where we get Officer Irishman, Mr. Riley, and I know
Mr.
it's
Riley, Orion.
Oh, Orion, sorry. And I get that that's a stereotype and whatever, but I'm pretty sure he says you can bet your shamrock it is or something like that. I'm like, oh my lord.
Yeah. Rodney refers to him as Joe Friday.
Yeah, as
which
Joe
is
Friday.
the main character from Dragnet.
There you go.
I googled that because that sounded like a reference, and look at that, it was.
Thanks, Odyssey.
And so Wit's just kind of well, look, you rushed things, you cut corners, and you got what you deserved. Take that, Bart.
Yeah.
And then he reads
Proverbs.
Yeah,
it's if you dig a pit, you'll fall in. If
a man digs a pit, he will fall into it. If a man rolls a stone, it will roll back on him.
As a don't be a bad person because bad things will happen to you. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wit.
I know.
Stop.
I know, and he's so smug about it.
He's so smug this entire episode. I can't believe he would let Bart fall on his face like that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, but he got what he had coming because he's a jerk.
Well, and that's the thing where it's he's playing this off he's playing it off like kind of like a dad, like watching his kid screw up and just be like, well, you know what, he'll figure it out. And like, that's kind of the tone of the episode where Bart's just like, he's like one of the kids, basically.
Right.
His character, he doesn't deserve any respect. He doesn't deserve any love or any whatever. He's just a gimmick and he's a kid. And like, he gets to be the punch of the joke and it's okay. And like, none of these previously established Christian characters are responsible for, you know, loving him and supporting him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, Whit wasn't even like, oh, this is, you know, that seems like, he didn't even express concern before this.
No, and then the whole thing with, like, the other thing that we get throughout this whole episode is that Bart's under all this pressure from Webster Development Company. We hear him on the phone with them at one point, apologizing profusely for the fact that things are, like, running behind schedule, and all of that stuff. So it's this thing where, like, he's clearly under a lot of pressure to cut corners and whatnot. And Whit's just kind of like, haha, loser, you were cutting corners and you got what you had coming. And Whit's even got this thing where he's like, I tried to warn you, Bart, but he didn't.
No.
He didn't tell Bart, hey, Bart, those Transformers are bad. If that thing blows up, it's gonna, like, be a problem.
Yeah.
Which he absolutely could have and should have, and it would have still been within Bart's character to flip the switch anyways.
Yeah. Or
the Bart we know would have also ignored that advice, but we could have still had Whit look like a good person who actually brought up the problem.
Yeah, instead of just crossing his arms and just rolling his eyes and being like, ugh, kids will be kids.
Yeah.
You got what you deserved.
Yep.
You played with fire and you got burned.
Yeah.
I'm just like, are you kidding me?
And the episode literally goes out on Whit chuckling at Bart's misfortune.
Exactly. Like it's like like little kid like fell over again. Ha ha ha. It's gonna be okay. Kids learn their lessons. Like, this is a grown man. You had every opportunity to like put your foot down and be a good person, and you just didn't. Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
No, not a good look on Whit. Not that interesting of an episode. I mean, it's fine. There's some comedy, I guess.
Not really. It just, like, it doesn't, like, what even is, like, it's just a beginning and an end and some stuff in the middle, and there's nothing, like...
It's the origin story for the Electric Palace.
Yeah, which I guess is important. And I didn't know that, does the Electric Palace eventually become independently owned by Bart?
I don't know.
Or is it always a franchise even post Blackgaard?
I actually don't know that.
Yeah. We'll find out.
And maybe. I also like completely forget, because of how much the Electric Palace is just a part of Odyssey, that it's literally built on the site of Blackgaard's castle.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
And Eugene makes some comment about like, it used to be a castle, now it's a palace.
Yeah, he makes that comment. Well, and I thought that when Blackgaard's brother comes,
spoilers.
Yeah. Does that in the Blackgaard Chronicles?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We'll be covering that, I think, pretty soon.
When Blackgaard's brother comes, I thought that the Harlequin Theater is built on the site of Blackgaard's castle.
No, sir.
But anyway, yeah, this isn't it. It's like, I get what it's trying to be. I get it's like trying to be like kind of the whole sitcom vibe where you just kind of watch things go bad and you laugh at the bad things that are happening because they deserve it. But like, especially coming off of the Homecoming. Yeah. This is so much worse. Yep. This is so much worse. And, you know, I mean, in typical Odyssey fashion, like, we can talk as much crap on it as we want to, but like, you know, the construction sounds are really good, and the voice acting's really good, and Bart Rathbone and Rodney Rathbone, while they aren't the best written characters, are
well performed.
They're well performed,
and like we obviously
enjoyable.
Yeah, and we love the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Big fans of both Walker Edmonston and Steve Burns. Yeah. Because we love Tom and Mitch, so we gotta love Rodney and Bart as well.
Exactly. We're legally contracted to.
Yeah. That's how this works. Are there discussion questions for this episode, Andrew?
Why is it usually best not to take shortcuts?
Because if you cut corners, those corners are gonna cut you.
Ooh, have you heard that before?
No,
You
I just made that up on the spot.
That's good. That's good. That's some knowledge. You should tweet that out. What are the benefits of taking your time?
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, I guess. Something like that. Actually, I could say, yeah. Have you ever taken a shortcut on a project when you know you shouldn't? When, and did you learn from your mistake? Here's the thing. I live my life based on the policy that I can cut corners a lot of the time and be okay. And the learning process is learning where you can cut corners and where you can't.
Right, absolutely. You cannot cut corners by getting a computer genius to wire your building.
Yeah.
Although I would like to point out that Eugene, it's implied that it would have worked.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for the bad Transformers.
Yeah.
So I like this idea of, like, Eugene's an infallible genius.
Yeah,
so,
he can do anything.
He can still pull this off, even though he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just that,
Well, that's what Wit says. Does he say, like, oh, they're only as good as their parts, or whatever like that? Like, the work is fine, but they're only as good as the tools, and then that's when it all blows up.
But yeah, there is especially when it comes to, like, school and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like, there's very much a strategy to where you can cut corners. Like, you don't have infinite time.
No.
So you have to manage your time in a certain way that is healthy. And sometimes that means you do things not the best way, but the quickest, and it's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like, that's a big thing, especially, like, with online schooling and stuff like that, where it's just like, and I think especially more prevalently in college, where it's like, I need points. I need to turn in something so I get some points, so I have more points than I did before, because any points is more than no points, and if I don't turn anything in, I don't get points.
Right.
So, like, exactly.
Exactly.
that's a big thing. And, like, for me, like, when I was in nursing school and stuff, like, I couldn't take shortcuts when it came to studying for tests. I've always been able to just kind of, like, glance over it, like, look over it over a couple days and been okay. And, like, then it was just like, I need to be preparing emotionally, spiritually, and physically for, like, at least 2 weeks beforehand. Otherwise, I will bomb this test. And even then, I sometimes bombed it.
Yeah.
So, you know what? You could take some shortcuts, I guess. Like, but also not with electrical work, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Or maybe this whole episode is just like an anti, like, cheap parts bit.
Right. No, it does seem like someone,
like, there's like some like
purchased, like,
mildly racist agenda where it's like, they don't make them like that here. Like, you got a Toyota, those cars are, they're gonna fall apart underneath you or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you might be projecting a little bit too much there, Andrew.
I drive a Toyota, all right? I don't want to hear it. I like my Toyota.
Anyways, that's the episode.
Yeah. Do you got anything to promote, buddy?
I'm not promoting anything now, but I think you do.
Heck yeah, I do. So, actually, I recorded with my buddy Carter 2 days ago, and it's edited, and it will be up when this episode comes out. So, yeah, look for that at the Andrew Sabo podcast. Dylan will hopefully link it in the show notes.
There will be a link in the show notes.
Bless you.
If you follow Liddit's podcasts on
Instagram.
No, on Twitter. It'll get tweeted out there. It'll also, you can follow Andrew places and see it. Those links will be in the show notes as well, based on prior conversations in the episode. So
yeah, it's gonna be good. Actually, it's more Christian than anything. I'm talking to him mostly a lot about, like, theology and his testimony and stuff like that. So, I mean, as presumably most of the listeners of this pod are Christian, you probably could get something out of it. It's a good conversation. We also talk about, like, the coronavirus and stuff like that. So it was a good time.
Yeah, it's relevant.
Time. So, yeah.
That's it. So we will be back in a week, provided the world's not over by then, to talk about episode 203, Double Trouble. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Liddit's Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliations with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. A Rathbone of Contention was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.